Next up is Wayne Bramwell, Managing Director of Westgold Resources. Wayne is a metallurgist, mineral economist, and experienced company director with extensive project and corporate development expertise across precious and base metal companies spanning nearly 3 decades. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Extractive Metallurgy, a graduate diploma in business, a Master of Science in Mineral Economics, and is a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors. Please welcome Wayne.
Thanks, Courtney, and thanks, Glenn, for cleaning out the room. Thank you for those who've stayed. I'm Wayne Bramwell. I'm the Managing Director of Westgold, and today's presentation will be a little different. Before I start, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that Westgold works upon and the owners of the ground we stand on today. As I said, today's presentation will be a little different. In resetting the Westgold story, what I won't do today is bombard you with geology, mining, financial metrics and talk to our resource and reserve statement. What I do want to talk to today is where we are as an organisation and where we're going as a business. It really touches on 3 points. Who we are, I'll talk to FY22, the performance of the business, and where we're going in FY23. Who are we? Very simple business to understand really. We're 100% West Australian domiciled with mining operations between Fortnum in the Bryah region down through Meekatharra to Kew. How do we look today? Westgold's in a really good place. I'm very proud to have stepped into the role of Managing Director in the last few months, and I can tell you this about the business. Very strong balance sheet at June 30, $190 million in cash, a refreshed leadership team, both board and management, a very diverse and committed workforce. We're 1,200 strong today, and we basically are fully exposed to underground mining, of which we have the complete capability. Our exploration efforts were reinitiated in 2022, and I'll talk to some of the successes of that team shortly. Most importantly, we're starting to advance our ESG initiatives. We're early in that journey, as many companies are, but we're committed to doing more in that space. In parallel, we're very much committed to doing more with community and our staff. I'm powering through this, so my wife said to me today, if you can't be interesting, be short, so I'm on track so far. You can be the judge at the end of this. I'd like to talk to a little bit about the new leadership in Westgold. I'm very happy to have welcomed the Honourable Cheryl Edwards AM to the board as non-executive chair a few months ago, alongside Julius Matthias as non-executive director. In the last few months, as I said, I've stepped into the role of managing director, so we're running a far more traditional corporate structure than before. On a management perspective, Mr. Phil Wilding, a long-serving employee within the company, has stepped into the role of acting chief operating officer. Importantly, as I spoke to prior, balance sheet's really strong, $190 million in cash at June 30. FY22. It was a really important year for the company, and I'll tell you why. It was a year of operational reset. We committed internally to changing the way we were messaging in the market and effectively operating. We were committed to delivering on our promises. We set out FY22 to basically become more of a consistent producer. I'm very proud to say that after 4 quarters of strong production, we delivered FY22's guidance. And that wasn't me, that was the people in the mines. I'm so proud of this team. Q4 was a really interesting time last year. Again, we saw a 41% increase in some of the inputs to our business like diesel, but again, the team managed to find a way. Q4 was a record production month of 72,000 ounces. It was another month of records, or a quarter of records, with both Big Bell, the engine room of our business, and the Q operations finding a way to deliver. As I say, we're in a really good shape. Big Bell, Bluebird, Starlight mines, our biggest assets are now at steady state, some of which are now moving ahead of those production levels. I will talk to the work that our exploration team has done. Exploration is something that we committed to or recommitted to in 2022, and it was great for the exploration team to deliver results on this new high-grade discovery called Sovereign. Again, I promise not to bombard you with financial metrics, but I'll leave this slide and basically say the objective of FY22 was to show consistency in production. 4 quarters of consistent production of around 60,000 ounces, topped off with Q4 over 70,000 ounces. The business is finding some rhythm. This is such an amazing result on so many levels when we overlay the distractions and the impacts of COVID-19, pressures with staff availability and movement in every input into our business as an operator. I'll talk to Big Bell. Big Bell is on song. This is an impossible project to explain in imagery. The only way you can understand this thing is to go there. This mine is in a fantastic place. At the end of Q3, we announced that it reached its design levels. Q4, it's already above it. The operating team there has been wrestling with this monster for some time, but you can see where it's going. We're above feasibility levels now, and I expect with further operational productivity changes, this mine will just keep going. A really important point to take away here, and again, is that at June 30, there's 4 million tonnes of ore developed at Big Bell. Our days of spending a lot of capital in this mine are behind us. What is ahead of us now is 4 million tonnes of ore, which we can readily access. I've titled this slide, What Good Looks Like, and Bluebird is very much an example of the new execution model at Westgold. This is a mine where we took a pause for 12 weeks in the last 12 months to basically drill it ahead of us. We drilled ahead of ourselves, and not surprisingly, this mine, when we restarted, has consistently delivered grade and tonnage above design. Predictable and consistent. They're 2 words that are really important to us in this organisation, and again, Bluebird, if you like, is what good looks like for us. It's got to the point now where, again, designed for 23,000 or 24,000 tonnes a month, now delivering close to 30,000 tonnes a month. We will continue to invest capital here to make this mine bigger. A 50,000 tonne per annum run rate here, tonnes per month run rate here is not too far away. Exploration success. This was a fantastic result. I'm so pleased for the exploration team to have identified this. I mean, exploration success can be couched many ways. You can drill directors' holes or target old things. This is not that. This is a new discovery in between 2 million ounce producers. Sovereign, we started the first 3 holes very, very successful. 4.4 metres at 8 is not bad straight off the bat. It's a linking structure between Golden Crown and Great Fingal. We restarted drilling there 10 days ago. There's more good news to flow from here. FY23, where are we taking this business? The mandate that I've been given is very clear. Profitability, deliver value, reset the cost base. As a producer, as I've said, in the last 12 months, we've seen every input to our business rise in price. The challenge for us, and our team has delivered against that challenge, is to find ways to counter cost inflation through productivity. There's a lot more to go. This slide I'd like to talk to a little bit is probably something which every operating company is dealing with, but again, you can start to see the philosophy which we are following. The new leadership team, first point of call, how do we drive the cost of this business down? Diesel consumption is something we're fully exposed to in terms of how we generate power, and having such a large fleet of mobile equipment, we're large consumers of diesel. I won't talk to these things other than to say that I'll talk a little bit about the first point, new power and LNG supply. But there's a full granular bottom-up review of our cost base happening in all of these areas. As I said, for us, we're quite early in our ESG journey, but we're committed to it. Our approach is quite simple. ESG, we're not greenwashers, it's about how do we drive our cost base down. We are currently fully exposed to diesel-fired power stations, and took 12 months, but we finally announced an agreement with Pacific Energy and CEFA in terms of showing a shift in the way we generate power. We're now bringing online new gas-fired power stations, and again, we've finally been able to integrate renewables into our energy mix. Key takeaway here is that we'll start to see cost benefits from this transition to a mixed platform in 2024 of the order of $100 an ounce. For us, it is ticking a box for ESG, but most importantly, it's about driving our costs down and making this business more sustainable. The runway into 24. Our growth strategy is fully funded. Earlier in the year, we raised $100 million to basically fund and build a bridge into FY24 to increase the scale of this business. I won't talk to too many of these things, but people can, happy to talk to them in the booth. Corstons is very much a part of our growth strategy. Corstons is an open pit mine within 300 metres of our Tuckabianna plant. We've not had the people or the funds to basically test the Tuckabianna trend before last year. We're about to start drilling in this area. What you're seeing here is a conceptual mine plan for Corstons, but before we commit significant capital to basically start this new mine, it's not a renovation, we're planning to drill that gap in the resource. Great Fingal. Not many companies here can stand and say that they, within their asset package, they have 2 mines or a group of mines which has produced over 1 million ounces at 19 grams per tonne. This is a fantastic story, Great Fingal. Westgold in 2019 drilled a hole 1.5 kilometres long, and that hole showed that this mineralised system below the old underground workings persists to that depth. Again, in terms of what we're about to do, we're now looking at drilling under the existing panel, 240 metres below the base of the existing workings, and once that drilling comes back, which that'll take several months, but once we've committed that capital, we'll then make a financial investment decision about pushing on the existing decline underneath the old workings to get to the virgin ore. The size of the prize here for us is quite clear. This is an operation that could deliver 20 to 25,000 tonnes per month at over 5 grams per tonne. Westgold 2.0 is what we call it internally, and we're very clear about what our aspirations are. We want to be a larger, progressive and sustainable gold business committed to success. Last slide, 3 minutes to go. Westgold 2.0, the road ahead is very, very clear. The new management team or the new leadership team's brought a new energy to the business, which is fantastic because we've already got a fantastic group of people in our operations who have found a way during FY22 against significant challenges to deliver the result for the shareholders. FY23, it's all about profitability. It's not just about ounces, it's about profitable ounces. And if we're successful, well, I'll be here next year. Anyway, I promised you not to bore you with statistics about geology, mining, metallurgy, resource reserve, but for those of you who do want to talk about it, please come and talk to my team in booth 125. Thanks.
Thanks, Wayne, and thanks for keeping it short and leaving some time for some of the other presenters. Does anyone have any questions in the audience? So I don't have my glasses on, so it's very hard to see if there are any hands up. If not, we'll take one from the text line. What needs to happen for Westgold to grow production meaningfully north of over 300,000 ounces per annum?
That's really easy, Courtney. It's basically do the work at Corstons, do the work at Great Fingal, and make our existing large mines bigger. Bluebird expansion will expand, and Big Bell itself now is already moving well above design levels.
Great. Thank you. Please put your hands together.